One thing I love about summer mornings, one, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, it's warm enough you can just head out in a t-shirt and shorts. The other thing is all the wildlife, squirrels, birds, everybody's busy making food for winter. And then there's this little turd. He's been on camera a lot lately. Bugaboo, do you like the new Grizzly? Do you like the new Grizzly? Do you think it'll work?
I don't know.
Mom, pet that. This morning, we're gonna try to get this Grizzly finished up and give it a test. What we've been building is a rock separator, if this is the first video that you're joining us for. Our property is covered in rock. In lieu of buying a lot of fill dirt, we have tried to create a contraption to help us filter the soil that we already have. And we built a first version. It did pretty good, but it finally died. We've tried fixing it and patching it, but ultimately it was kind of flawed from the beginning. It had a lot of weaknesses, and that's okay. So this time we're actually starting from the ground up and we're kind of rebuilding it using a lot of the things that we have learned from the first one. So where we're at, this is episode number 3 or video number 3. What we need to do this morning to help finish the foundation, we need to create the tie brace that goes on the back here. And we've got some plywood that was used for a concrete form, and we're gonna use that to we'll probably use that to cover the front here. I think we weren't originally going to put plywood on the outside because you don't really need it, but I'm pretty confident now that for strength, we're probably going to need to sheet the outside here too. And then a couple of things that we need to do to the decking here is we need to drill the holes for the posts, and then we need to flip it over and attach the screen, which is going to be 11 gauge chain link fence. So once those things are done, we should be ready to lift the deck up and install it on the Grizzly, and then we'll need to move the Grizzly over here and give it a test run. Looking at our lumber pile, we're running a little low on 2x4s, so it looks like we get to make some 2x4s real quick. One unfortunate reality of reclaimed materials is that they often are fraught with nails and screws. Ironically, you collect all these materials, but then you're really limited on what you can use them for, unless you're willing to take the time to do all that extra work. It's a labor of love. You have to really want those materials, because a piece of wood like this with too many nails in it will chew up a $50 saw blade, and you can replace this panel for probably around 25. So just one reality of working with these materials. Well, I have to tell on myself, there's a lot of dip and dive on the left side of this board. So yesterday evening, in trying to just get a million things done, I was in a hurry, and I left one of the side supports up after where my board ended, so down toward the back end of the mill, which I thought, well, you know, it doesn't matter really, I'm not milling down there. Well, I milled to the end of that board, and then to give myself just a little more room to work, I pushed the mill head forward. The blade was already turned off, but it hadn't stopped yet, and it bit into one of the side supports. So this morning I went out to mill, and I knew I had dinged the blade, but I thought I would just see if it would cut. And the cut it made looks like this, dips and dives. So this morning I had to change the blade. Let me show you what I did to that other blade. So here's a blade that's got quite a few hours of cutting on it. And as we move around, see the shift? Pointy tooth, round tooth. And I only knocked off maybe about 30 teeth out of the whole blade. This blade I don't think can even be resharpened, but I'll ask Wood-Mizer. It's not a big deal. I think these blades are about $20. One of the best pieces of advice a local sawyer gave me: take your time, there's no rush. Make your right cuts the first time and don't do damage to your blades. Well, I've done pretty good, you know, but yesterday I got pretty annoyed because our to-do list is so long and some of these things just keep getting bumped and bumped and bumped and bumped, and you just got to get some work done sometimes, you know. And that wasn't like a glaring error, right? They never are. It seems like when you make a mistake, it's not like, you know, you leave the oven on all night or something like that. It's something little. So there, I told on myself, and yep, it doesn't cut very good with that blade on there. But thankfully, the blade change takes 5 minutes maybe. So I got that done, and the other side of that board is just beautiful. So I got the front paneling all installed. You can tell that used to be a concrete form. This is another reality of reclaimed materials. I mean, you're just gonna eat up saw blades. And I'm using a blade on my saw that I don't really care about, but all that concrete and mortar on that board, I guarantee you, is just doing havoc, wreaking havoc on that blade. Now we're working on building this back brace up here, and I've got some OSB that I'm gonna use to sheet that to try to create some rigidity. Thought I'd share something really quick because there's probably somebody out there who can use this information. So you might not know, but on sheathing there's these black lines, and those are put there to save you a heck of a lot of time when you're nailing your sheathing. So some of these lines I think are, let's see, 2 foot on center. So from here to here's 2 feet, to here 2 feet. So what are these lines? These are 16 on center. So if we lift this up without dropping it, you'll see that behind those lines are studs. So now when I go to nail, all I need to do is nail up that black line, and it's a huge time saver when you're doing large projects. You could also mark those off like I was doing on some of this stuff. You can see some of my chalk lines down here, but this is much quicker. So we're ready to drill the holes in the posts. And I know that my triangulated distance is 82 inches. So I dropped a nail up there. And what we're gonna do is I need to get my square and find the center of this post and draw a line straight down. And what we're looking for is where 82 inches intersects that line. So now we need to drill the holes in our deck, and then what we're going to do is add a block on the other side so the bolt can run through and attach that block. And I think we'll actually end up adding a block laterally also, so a vertical block and a lateral block behind each one of these bolted areas. I want to just flip this deck over. I decided I want to put the fencing on the ground. And since we have the backhoe, I think I'm just going to use the backhoe to give it a flip. And then we should be able just to lift it in place, but I'm going to have Alyssa's help probably to get those bolts through there. I sure hope Alyssa has some breakfast ready. I haven't eaten yet, and I don't even know what time it is, but we got to go pour concrete in like 2 hours, so chop chop! Alyssa has banned me from this project because morale has dropped very low. We have a lot of work to get done, but I think you can see behind me, we now have Grizzly 3.0. I don't know if I'm going to test it in this video or not. If you know what? Testing, it'll probably be the outro. Hope you enjoyed this project. See you next time.